What is going on, guys? Welcome to this video. My name is Cameron and today we are reviewing Ultimate Spider-Man issue 74. Now in the previous issue we saw Spider-Man and Harry Osborn, well, kind of confront each other. Harry Osborn confronted Peter Parker about being Spider-Man and in a way revealed that he was dating Mary Jane before Peter Parker, and of course that's going to tick Peter Parker off a lot considering Mary Jane didn't tell Peter, so that's going to cause some kind of impact in this issue, and it's so good. You've also got to remember that Peter Parker did go through that craziness with Doctor Strange previously, so that's also still dragging over him, that's still having an effect on him, and that's going to increase the intensity of Peter Parker's outrage when it comes to speaking to Mary Jane. And I can't wait for you guys to see it. So let's get into this review because it needs to be read. So we are opening up the issue and it goes right back over to where the previous issue exactly left off, and it's got Harry Osborn holding Peter Parker's Spider-Man mask in his hand, and straight away you can pretty much tell that Harry Osborn is not being very sincere, he's not being too friendly. It's almost like there's a dark presence in the room, and I don't know about you guys, but I'm getting a very sinister vibe off Harry Osborn as the character. Like the way he sort of threw that Mary Jane comment in there, and then when Peter questioned him about it, Harry Osborn just kind of ignored it and moved on with the conversation, and you can almost tell that Harry Osborn said that just to kind of aggravate Peter, and then he just moved on like he didn't want to talk about it any longer. So it seemed like he did that on purpose, knowing that it would aggravate Peter to maybe somewhat break up their relationship or something like that. And I think one of the best moments of the comic is the next day when Peter and Mary Jane are in class, and Mary Jane is just trying to get Peter's attention and he's having none of it whatsoever. And the part that I love is that Harry Osborn is actually sat in the background noticing all of this, and it's almost like he's there to watch. It's just awesome. So moving over to what you're seeing on screen right now, Peter and Mary Jane are about to have an argument, and one of the ways that the art style can influence the reader of the situation that's about to unfold is the way that Spider-Man was stood on the edge of the building. He wasn't stood majestically like looking up at the sky, he was stood sort of like aggressively looking down, and I think that's kind of foreshadows what's about to come up in the issue. Now if you remember what I said about that craziness that went down with Doctor Strange and Spider-Man, where all of those nightmares got put into Spider-Man's head of Mary Jane being killed because of him, and you can see that this is having a huge effect on Peter Parker's life and relationship with Mary Jane. And to be honest, I don't think Peter Parker is conscious of this feeling towards Mary Jane, you know, to do with him feeling responsible about her or anything like that. I think it's just one of those things that's kind of in the back of his mind, and then when it gets to it, it's one of those things that comes out as aggression towards Mary Jane when he does realize it. So another favourite part of the issue for me personally is when Spider-Man takes his mask off and he's also crying along with Mary Jane. It shows how much this relationship means to Peter Parker, and it shows how much he cares. And you couldn't really get that emotion through his words, so when he took his mask off you could really feel the emotion of what he was saying previously before the mask was off. I also somewhat feel like Mary Jane is a little bit of a dumb character in this issue, not because like of her or anything like that, and it's got nothing to do with like what she says or anything like that, it's just what she does right after she argues with Spider-Man. And it's the fact that Spider-Man tells her to stay away from Harry Osborn no matter what, and then the first thing she does after Spider-Man leaves is go straight to Harry Osborn, and it's just sort of like, after what Spider-Man said, why would you believe what Harry Osborn is saying to you? Why would you believe that when he says Spider-Man killed his father? Why would you believe that? It's genuinely just so dumb. Like, Mary Jane is portrayed as kind of like a dumb character in these issues, and we already know that she's like super smart. She obviously has common sense, but when she hears what Harry Osborn has to say, she's like crazily shocked by it, and it's just like, surely you wouldn't believe that straight away, especially with what Spider-Man has just said to you right before this confrontation with Harry Osborn. So yeah, that's one of my concerns with the issue, and it's a pretty big concern. So anyway, moving on throughout the issue, we go back to Spider-Man, and obviously when he sees a crime, when he's in this aggressive state that he's in, he's going to do some stupid stuff, and he actually takes all of his aggression out on this one criminal and actually ends up seriously hurting him. And to be honest, I found this quite hilarious considering the reaction that Spider-Man gave when he realised that he knocked this guy unconscious or whatever he did. Like, Spider-Man could have accidentally killed this person, especially when he doesn't necessarily know his own strength. And I think this is a brilliant example of how Peter Parker's personal life can bleed over into his Spider-Man life. Not to mention what we're seeing on screen right now is Spider-Man taking responsibility for his actions, taking responsibility of losing control of his strength, and taking it out on a somewhat innocent criminal that didn't really deserve to have the aggression of Spider-Man put upon him. But in a way, he was still a criminal, so it's not really that bad. He was asking for it technically, but you can see that Spider-Man still feels responsible for it, and that is just the type of character Spider-Man is. We also got to see Dewolff there. That is someone that we haven't seen since Spider-Man's imposter days, like 30 issues ago, all the way back when Captain Stacy died. if I remember correctly. And finally, we did get a proper introduction to her character. Like when we saw her ages ago, we didn't really get a proper introduction, but now we have. So that's awesome, and hopefully we'll see her in the upcoming issues in the future. But now coming up to the final few pages of this comic, we're going over to Aunt May and Peter Parker back in their new house. So yes, they have definitely moved house. They've only moved down the street from where they originally lived, but nonetheless, they've moved house. And coming up to the final page, we get this inevitable phone call from Harry Osborn, and we get that blackmail vibe coming from Harry once again, and we don't necessarily know what Harry Osborn needs Peter Parker as Spider-Man for, but I'm pretty sure it's not going to be for anything good. Alright guys, that is it for this issue, and it was so awesome. The ending with Peter Parker getting that phone call from Harry Osborn, not knowing what needs to be done, and it makes you wonder, why would Harry Osborn need Peter Parker to be Spider-Man? I honestly can't remember what it was like, so really this is a surprise for both of us when we get into the next issue. One of my favourite parts of the comic was when Peter Parker was having that argument with Mary Jane on the rooftop, and Peter took his mask off and he was also crying. When Peter Parker's mask is on, you can't really tell what the emotion is behind his words, but when he takes his mask off and he's also crying along with Mary Jane, it shows how much this relationship means to Peter Parker as well as Mary Jane, and they're there. So yeah, that was one of my favourite parts of the issue, and it just got crazy with Peter Parker for the very first time, or well, for the first time in a while anyway, Peter's personal life actually taking effect on his Spider-Man life, inevitably putting some guy in the hospital, and in a way this criminal was robbing someone, so I mean it's his own fault for like being put in the hospital in the first place. But Peter Parker did take responsibility for that, and we also got the introduction of Jean Dewolff. Now obviously she's been in the issues like 30 issues ago when Spider-Man was an imposter, but we didn't really get a proper introduction. So the fact that she's actually introduced herself to Spider-Man means that we might actually get to see her a few times in the next coming up issues or something like that. And basically it was just awesome to see how she understood Peter Parker's teenage drama that's going on in his personal life. And yeah, it doesn't really feel like Peter Parker and Harry Osborn are friends. It more or less feels like Harry Osborn has some kind of hold over Peter Parker, you know, because he knows he's Spider-Man, and it's more or less like Harry Osborn is blackmailing Peter Parker into doing some things, and it's just crazy, and especially the fact that Harry Osborn used to date Mary Jane. But yeah, so I'm going to give this issue an 8 out of 10. It was very intriguing and just interesting to see what was going down between Harry Osborn and Peter Parker. As I've said, it seems like there's some tension between all three characters. Nobody really knows what's happening, and it can only get better. But in the meantime guys, if you want these Ultimate Spider-Man reviews earlier than everybody else, you can become a Patreon by clicking the link in the description. You can also get a free comic every single week, and behind the scenes pictures and videos or whatever's going on. It's crazy. So check out where you can get the link is in the description. And last but not least guys, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button if you like these reviews. Don't forget to follow me on Instagram to get live updates on the Instagram story of what's going on, like with my videos, what's being edited. Don't forget to follow me on Twitter for anything else related to comic books and my opinions on stuff. And I'll see you later.